Have you ever known exactly what you needed to do, but somehow never did it? Maybe you knew you should stop wasting time. Maybe you knew you should leave bad habits behind. Maybe you knew you should become a better person. But every time you thought about changing, a small voice inside whispered, "Tomorrow, not today, tomorrow." And then tomorrow became next week became next month, and before you knew it, years were gone. Today's story is about a man named Karim, a man who knew the truth, a man who wanted to change, a man who promised himself hundreds of times that he would change, yet he never did. Until one night, life forced him to. But by then, he had already lost something he could never get back. Karim wasn't a bad man. That was the strange part. He wasn't cruel. He wasn't a criminal. He wasn't someone people feared. In fact, most people liked him. He was funny, friendly, young, healthy, and full of life. Every evening, he sat with his friends at cafes and roadside tea stalls. They laughed, told stories, talked about people, made fun of others, spent hours discussing things that didn't matter. One cup of tea became two, two became four, four became an entire evening. Then the evening became another wasted day.
And then he just walked away.
No way, that is hilarious.
Karim knew it. Sometimes while walking home late at night, he would ask himself,
What am I doing with my life? What's the point of all that?
but the next morning he forgot the question, and life continued. His mother noticed. Mothers usually notice what nobody else sees. One evening, Karim came home after midnight. His mother was waiting. The food on the table had gone cold. She looked tired, but she smiled when she saw him. "You were still awake?" Karim asked. His mother nodded. "I wanted to see you before sleeping." His mother looked at him for a moment. Then she asked quietly,
Son, where is your life going?
Mother, why do you worry so much? I'm young. I have time.
Everybody thinks they have time.
The room became silent. For a moment, Karim felt uncomfortable. Deep down, he knew she was right. He knew he was wasting his days. He knew he was wasting his health. He knew alcohol was hurting him. He knew his friends were not helping him become better. He knew, but knowing wasn't enough. Because every time he thought about changing, the same voice appeared. Tomorrow. And somehow tomorrow always sounded like a good plan. Years passed, nothing changed. Karim still drank, still wasted his evenings, still delayed everything important. His dreams stayed dreams, his goals stayed goals, his promises stayed promises. One night he sat with his friends at a noisy cafe. Everyone was laughing, talking loudly, showing off, arguing about useless things. Karim looked around the table, and a strange thought entered his mind. He looked at each friend, one by one, and wondered, if something happened to me tomorrow, Would these people still be here? The thought bothered him, so he pushed it away. Sometimes the truth knocks softly, but people often make more noise so they don't hear it. Months later, Karim was driving home after another late night. Rain was falling heavily. The roads were almost empty. Street lights reflected on the wet road. His phone buzzed, a message from one of his friends. Karim glanced down for just a second. 1 second. That was all it took. Suddenly, bright headlights appeared, a truck, a loud horn, screeching brakes, metal crashing, glass shattering, and then darkness.
Let's get him inside now! Watch his head, carefully!
When Karim opened his eyes, everything was blurry. White ceiling, white walls, machines beeping, voice around him. At first, he didn't understand where he was. Then he tried to move. Pain shot through his body. His heart began racing. Something felt wrong, very wrong. Slowly, he lifted the blanket and froze. His right leg was gone. For a few seconds, the world stopped. His voice shook, but reality didn't change. The doctors had saved his life, but they didn't save his leg. Karim turned his face toward the wall and cried, not like a grown man, like a frightened child. The weeks that followed felt endless. People came to visit, friends, neighbors, relatives. Everyone said the same thing. We'll always be here. We'll help you. You are not alone. Karim believed them. But something strange happened. The visitors became fewer, and then fewer. Until almost nobody came at all. His phone stopped ringing, messages stopped arriving, invitation disappeared. The same people who once filled his evenings were nowhere to be found. One afternoon, Karim sat alone in his hospital room, watching the door, waiting. Nobody came.
Hello? Is anyone there?
Then the door opened. His mother walked in carrying food. She smiled, just like she always did. And suddenly, Karim realized something. The people he spent years trying to impress were gone. But the person he kept ignoring was still here, every single day. Months later, Karim returned home. Life was different now. Simple things became difficult. Walking, standing, climbing stairs. Things he once did without thinking. Now, a very quiet effort. One evening, he sat by his window, watching people walk down the street. Children were playing. Young men playing football. Karim watched quietly. Then tears filled his eyes. Because for the first time in his life, he understood what a blessing a leg really was. For years, he thanked nobody for it. He simply assumed it would always be there. Until it wasn't. That night, he couldn't sleep. His mother's word echoed in his mind. Everybody thinks they have time.
Everybody thinks
For the first time, he saw his life clearly. The wasted evenings, the alcohol, the gossip, the excuses, the endless promises. Tomorrow, tomorrow, and tomorrow. How many years had he lost waiting for tomorrow? Karim sat in silence until sunrise, and then something changed. Not his body, his heart. For the first time, he stopped blaming others, stopped blaming fate, stopped blaming circumstances, and asked himself a question he had avoided for years. What if my real problem was never the accident? The question hit him hard because deep down he knew the answer. The accident had taken his leg, but something else had stolen his ears. Something else had stolen his potential. Something else had kept him asleep while life passed by. His Nafs, the lower self. The voice that never said, do evil. The voice that always said, later. From that day, Karim changed slowly, not overnight. Real change rarely happens overnight. He stopped wasting his days, started reading, started praying, started helping others, started using his pain to wake people up. Years later, a young man would visit him and ask, what changed your life? Most expected him to point at his missing leg, but Karim always shook his head. The accident didn't change me. The young man looked confused. Then Karim smiled sadly. The accident only showed me what I should have seen years earlier. What was that? They asked. Karim looked out the window and replied, life is shorter than you think, and the most dangerous word in the world is not never, it's tomorrow. Because tomorrow is where dreams go to die. Tomorrow is where good intentions are buried. Tomorrow is where the Nafs hides. And one day, for every one of us, tomorrow runs out. So change before life forces you to, because sometimes life whispers, and sometimes life takes a leg to make you listen. Dear viewers, from this story we can learn something very important lesson, such as realize the value of things before it taken away from you. Remember the story. Karim was not evil person. He was doing fine. He wanted to change his life. His mother always advised him to change his life, but he never did it. He always thought to change his life. But when the life takes away something from him, he realized. But let me tell you something. What's the point of realizing then? If something is taken away from your life and then you realize something important, then you realize something that carries value, what's the point of that? So from this story, I want you to understand one thing is understand the value before it takes away from you. Understand the blessing of life. Understand the blessing that has given to you before it taken away from you. That's it for now. See you next time.